Hey, you're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Neck, we're here with Cheesehead TV, coming to you live on the YouTube channel. It's Wednesday. The Packers are one day closer to possibly reporting for training camp. I know initial reports had said that rookies would be reporting tomorrow. That may or may not end up being the case, but regardless of what's going on, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk some Packers. This is what we do here at Cheesehead TV. Sorry, guys, I'm all discombobulated. Don't ever have kids. Salute. Good morning, Go Pack Go. What's up, Carl? How are you? Good morning, Packer Nation. Janelle, how are you? Corey Mansky, what's up? Black Swan, haven't seen you in a while. Big B is here. Of course, Big B is here. JW, wherever you are, it is good evening. Well, good evening. Good to see you. Stu, fine folks here to carry the G. That's what I'm talking about. Of course, the reporting overnight is that there is the two sides are close to an agreement on no preseason games and various other protocols and or monetary concerns. The other big news, obviously, is the Packers' release of their financials. Happens every year. Big jump in not only operating revenue, but profit. And that was to be expected, although it was a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, the number that's trumpeted nationally is the $292 million, which teams got from broadcast rights. Each team cut that check, and that's before anything locally. NFL teams are doing all right. It's the same thing we hear every year. Of course, the interesting part about all of this is that the fiscal year ends March 31st. So that's clearly before anything COVID-19 related took effect, which you have to think all eyes will be on the Packers financials next year after we see how everything shakes out in the wake of the shutdown, everything we're going through. You made a video about your favorite Packer books. Do you have a favorite Packer DVD? Travis, I do. It's one that Corey made for me personally, like a decade ago. As far as that you can purchase, I mean, I've got the same ones everybody else has, right? The greatest Packer games, history of the Ice Bowl. You know, I think most people have got the same DVD collection. I got the Legacy Blu-ray that came out. Probably my favorite ones, though, are the one, man, you guys remember this? Before there was Game Pass or Game Rewind, we used to go and buy DVD copies of old Packer games off the internet. People would have dubbed old games off their VCR onto DVD. I have like tons of Packer games on DVD from the Mike Sherman era. Like some random Tuesday, I'm going to want to watch, Packers Vikings. Mike Sherman faces off against Mike Tice. Sure, why not? But yeah, I've got a ton of those. Those are a lot of fun. Do you have any control of the ads that precede your chat? Trump ads, really? No, of course I don't. Google does. Also, those ads are generally targeted towards your activity on your Google account. Trivia today? Yes. George Butters is here. Yes, George. Sorry for yesterday's false start. Technical problems on the LiveX end, but yes, we will be back. Perry will be back. We'll all be back. Trivia, 5:30 Eastern today. You don't own shares for dividends. Come on, man. Who's talking about dividends? There are no dividends. First year in a long time that I've actually wanted to see a preseason game because of love. C'est la vie. Yeah, it is kind of funny that way, right? It is the one year you probably wanted a little bit of action from the backup quarterback, see what he looks like, but I won't be having it this year. And you have to think, if there's anyone who's pleased about the development of no preseason games, it's probably Tim Boyle, because it probably means he's going to have a job. Do you think Za'Darius Smith will still get suspended a game? I still think it's a possibility, Joseph, but the closer we get to the season, the less likely it becomes, which I am fine with. With just 8 padded practices and no preseason, which type of team/rosters will separate themselves from the rest? Well, Matt, first, a word of caution. That's not official yet. I know those things have been reported, but no one's signed off on that yet. I think the league will keep pushing to get padded practices a little bit earlier. I know players are really trying to push for an extended ramp-up period, minimal work in pads, etc. We'll see how it shakes out. You know, the players don't just get no preseason games for nothing. So we'll see. But to answer your question, I think, yes, teams like the Packers, teams that have great continuity, are clearly going to be at a bit of an advantage. I don't think it's a huge one, but it certainly doesn't hurt, especially in the case of the Packers, who have, you know, a ton of returning starters. The staff is pretty much in place from last year. Clearly, everybody's kind of working under the same restrictions off-season wise, not being able to get together, etc. So teams that have a lot of continuity should fare better. Now, does that automatically translate? Of course not. But if you're looking for every little bit of an edge you can get, that is certainly one for Green Bay. Nathan, I love that you super chatted this. I miss Mike Tice. LOL. I kind of do too. Little lumpy guy. Come on now. Morning, Nags. What's up, Jitsu? How are you doing? I love this typo that well, you probably had pre-text here, but what is Game On Wisconsin? Does Perry and Maggie still work with Chavez? I think you meant to say Cheesehead TV. Yes, Perry and Maggie are still with Cheesehead TV. Game On Wisconsin is a collective of Packers fans who are doing something new, and it's a lot of fun, and you should check it out. Maggie and Perry did a live happy hour on Monday night. I believe they're going to be doing that every Monday. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's just another group of people doing, and this is something Corey and I used to talk about all the time on Transplants. Because, you know, if you've watched us for a long time, you know we have a weekly segment called This Week in the Packer Blogosphere. And as of late, there isn't a ton to talk about because there aren't a lot of Packer blogs or Packer sites. And I understand that we are kind of not responsible, but we kind of, you know, we suck up a lot of talent along the way because we see people we like and we want to work with them. And we say, hey, come write with us or come work with us, etc. So I understand that there's a bit of that. But look, you know, Corey and I were talking about it last night. I love new Packer sites. I love new endeavors that celebrate the Green Bay Packers because it just gives, you know, more voices to consider, to hear, to probably, you know, go after every once in a while because you're not always going to agree. I love it. And I love that the Packers fandom is so robust that it can support that kind of thing. You know, there are tons. After covering the league for a number of years, either with Bleacher Report or SI, I can tell you, you know, Packer fandom, interest, etc. That's not a usual thing. Yes, people are insane about the NFL in general. Yes, people are insane about their NFL teams. But man, Packers fandom is something special. And everything that celebrates it, I am on board with. I love it. So that's a long-winded answer to say, you know, check it out. Maggie and Perry are great. You know, you saw Perry last night on trivia. She's still working with us. Maggie's still writing for us. Maggie had a new piece up yesterday. More the merrier. I love it. Subscribe to Chavez. Exactly. Next video featuring Olive, you, and the dog. Yeah, that's coming. Can't say you are drinking all day unless you start in the morning. Nate? Not Irish coffee, but I agree with you. I'm down. We need Olive reviewing alternate NFL uniforms. I need to see how she'd react to those orange Buccaneers uniforms. I'm down with that. That's actually not a bad idea. She'd destroy everybody. Dylan. Nags, are you worried about Rodgers' dating life? No. Morning, Pogs. How are you? Good to see you. What's my most prized Packers possession? Woo, Travis. That's a good question. Probably a Packers ashtray. It's a glass ashtray that my grandmother had back in Chilton. It's at my parents' house. I love that thing. It makes me think of her. It makes me think of her smoking, watching Packer games. It's so cool. I got to bring it out to New York at some point, but that's the bomb. Packerman. Packerman is Corey's. All I do is destroy Packerman. You lost your Packers cribbage board. Oh, man. That's brutal. That's brutal. Are we still going to have training after more and more NFL players are positive with COVID? Well, okay. Something of note here. The NFLPA put out something on their website yesterday saying that 95 players have tested positive for COVID-19. And then, of course, the aggregate media just went insane. And then two things happened. One, no one read the fine print to realize that they were talking about since March. I mean, these included guys like Whitworth and Von Miller, who we knew about months ago. And then as the evening progressed, they changed the number to 56 or something like that. You know, they lopped off like 40 guys because it was incorrect data. So, you know, is it a concern? Yeah, no question, no doubt about it. It has to be treated with the utmost, importance. But can we just let them handle it, see how it goes? And I, for one, I have pretty high confidence in the NFL and the teams and their ability, the medical people, to get a good grip on this before anybody steps on a football field. That's just me. Call me crazy, but I'm gonna cede authority here to the people who, are charged with keeping these players healthy. It's just me. Nathan, I think Olive would redesign NFL logos. Yeah, she'd love to. Frank, the Packers don't seem to run rub routes like shallow cross as much as some teams like the Patriots. Is that due to Rodgers trying to protect his receivers, or is he just typically not, or is that typically just not been the plan? I would tend to think it's much more the latter than the former. It hasn't been a large part. They do run some, but not over and over and over again. That's for sure. I think the Patriots did it last year a lot as a response to their lack of talent at wide receiver. Now, you could argue that the Packers had the same problem. They just went about it differently. But I don't think it has much to do with Aaron Rodgers or his willingness or non-willingness to throw in the middle of the field, to lead guys into trouble, etc. I don't think that enters into it too much. Jeff Smith, what's up? How are you? Speaking of the middle of the field. Hi, Aaron. Why do you think Rodgers doesn't throw to the middle of the field? When he does, he's pretty successful with it. Go Pack Go from Austria. Morning from New York City. It's a bit of a mystery. I will admit. He, like you said, he can be really super effective with it. I do think there is something to his not wanting to lead his guys into trouble. More than anything, he doesn't like to put guys in a position where they're going to get blown up. And obviously, the number one place that's going to happen is in the middle of the field. But he does seem to have the last year and a half, 2 years, to a real aversion to attacking the middle of the field. Now, why that is, I have no idea. But the data is clear. I mean, you just have to look at the heat map, look at all the charts about where his passes are thrown. It is irrefutable. He has certainly changed in that regard. So, I don't know. It'd be fun to ask him about that. Maybe I'll get that chance this summer. Is Devontae Adams the most talented receiver 12 has played with? Ooh, Daniel trying to stir the pot. One of them. How's that? He could hit the shit out of those seam routes. Yeah, I agree. Teams with a brand new head coach or a brand new rookie QB are screwed this season. Yes and no. I mean, I do think the lack of work for everybody on the field is going to help kind of even it a little bit. Defenses are generally ahead of offenses anyway when the season starts because it's a more reactionary side of the ball. And that should help in the sense of trying to slow down some of the offenses. But yeah, I mean, new head coaches trying to implement schemes, trying to get everybody on the same page, etc. Sure. Yeah, they're going to be a bit behind the 8 ball, but I think the talent is such that it won't be the gap won't be, a gaping chasm or anything. It'll be a bit noticeable, but I don't think it'll be deciding football games. Big B, you're late. I was waiting for your Jamal Williams is the GOAT, all in caps. I mean, we've been chatting now for 15 minutes. You suspect, man. Frank, thanks to the super chat. NFL game plan needs to include more games. Yes. I'm dying to rewatch Vikings at Packers 2000. He did what? Still stands as one of my favorite games ever. I know, man. Although I will say, so they only went back to 2018 up until 9 months ago. So now they've gone back to, I think the archive goes to 2009 right now, or 2009 or so. So I got to think they're working on, building that reservoir of games up. Yeah, man, I would love I want to see some old school Favre games. I want to see 96, 95. That's what I want. But And you can get some of those on YouTube, but mostly it's just like notable games, like where something big happened. Like I want some rando, Browns Packers matchup from '94 or something like that everyone's forgotten about. That's the stuff I want to watch. Man, Aaron Rodgers was ripping passes over the middle in the Super Bowl, and the pace of the offense was pretty insane. The pace thing is so noticeable, isn't it? When the lockdown started and lots of television producers were trying to scramble and find programming, they started showing old games. The Super Bowl was one of them. And I remember watching that thinking, man, it is like watching a different dude. And the pace is so noticeable, in and out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, running the play, at occasion making changes and running it down to 1 second. But just the clip that they operated at was so different. And it's funny because I talked to Ryan Grant about that when he was on the Watch Party a couple years ago, about the pace and how Mike McCarthy always was on them about pace, and it was never fast enough. And we've heard Matt LaFleur talk about the same thing, but man, they got themselves a laconic quarterback who's going to take his sweet time. That's all I can say about that. Some of the quality is really rough on YouTube. Well, yeah, Nick, but most people are ripping it from old VCR tapes, so it's to be expected. What's Aaron Rodgers like to talk to? Is he anything like the persona the media put across? Yeah, he's as late. No, he's as advertised, I think. I mean, I don't know what your perception is of what the media puts across, but he's a laconic guy, soft-spoken, funny, quirky, good dude. He's really fun. I mean, I remember last summer, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I showed up on the sideline the first day of practice, and he was walking by with pads and helmet, and he's like, oh, they'll let anyone in here. He's ripping jokes, whatever. When I came in the middle of the season last year, there was a stretch where they had 2 home games in a row, so I stayed the week. So that meant I was there for his Wednesday availability. And I walked up to the locker, and he just looked at me. He's like, oh, boy, Nagler's here. He's a fun guy. He's fine. He's cool. Although it is funny because, like, when you are asking him a question and he does that thing where he, like, stares into your soul, like saying with his eyes, this question better not suck or I'm going to completely tear it apart. That is noticeable. So much so that Olive is convinced that Aaron Rodgers hates me because of this one summer where she was watching the locker room scrum, and she said, he was so mean to you. And I was like, no, he's just like answering a question. Alex has met him. Yeah, exactly. He's pretty laid back in my experience, but true to his guns and what he believes in. That is very, very true. Have you ever been nervous / starstruck around a player? Not really. If I had met Brett Favre back in the day, that would have done it. As far as like in the context of being a Packer, in his job, like if I had been a blogger in a media situation. But, even back in the day when he was hanging out at the bars in Appleton, just a dude. So I think the closest I ever got, and I think I tweeted about this when I was at the Super Bowl, the Panthers Broncos Super Bowl. Cam Newton is like the one guy I've ever been in the presence of where I was like, he is a fucking rock star, man. Like he's physically, he's just an incredible specimen. And B, he's just like got that persona where he's like amazing. He's just electric. He's a rock star. So he's probably the one guy where I've ever gotten like, whoa, I'm in the same room with this dude. Would you trust Aaron Rodgers to take care of your dog? All right. It is definitely time for me to go. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out, talking some Packers. I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, please hit up Cheesehead TV. Please hit like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Go Pack Go.